Does Trump's campaign need a reset and a reboot? Good morning, Kuhner country. Okay, my friends, a lot to talk about today. Just very quickly, about last night's debate here on WRKO that I moderated. I want to thank all three of the candidates again. Bob Antonellis, Ian Kane, and John Deaton. It was a very good, spirited, vigorous debate. I know many of you heard it, listened to it live. If you did not listen to it live, we have it up on podcast, the whole 90 minutes, and you can hear it for yourself. Just go to wrko.com/Kuhner, Kuhner. That's wrko.com/Kuhner, Kuhner. And today's poll question, and I'm going to be asking it throughout the entire show, who do you think won the debate? Who do you think won last night's Republican primary debate for the U.S. Senate? Deaton apparently initially, at least throughout the debate yesterday, got 83%. So that was that's what we got last night. But I want to take it now to the wider audience, to all of you, and ask, what did you think? But anyway, Antonellis got apparently 11%. Ian Kane got 6%. But that's the initial poll that we took. I want to ask all of you, and we're going to update it throughout the entire show. So who do you think won last night's debate? You can go to wrko.com/Kuhner, Kuhn as in National ER, and I'd love to hear from all of you, Kuhner country. You can also vote via X at the Kuhner Report, one word. That's my handle, at the Kuhner Report, Kuhn as in National ER. Okay, huge now developments over the last 24 hours on the presidential campaign. President Trump yesterday held an impromptu, unscripted press conference. Now, that is in complete contrast to Commie Kamala. Commie Kamala now, I think is 19 days? What is it now, 18, 19, almost 20 days? She hasn't even taken a question from a reporter. She will not sit down for an interview. She will not do a press conference. The strategy is stick her in the basement a la Joe Biden in 2020. And then let the media now deify her, glorify her, propagandize on behalf of her, and hopefully they believe that will be enough to put her over the top. Now, what has some people in the Trump camp concerned is that many of the polls now show that Kamala Harris has erased Trump's lead. Nationally, they are tied in many of the polls. In some of the polls now, Kamala is ahead. One Marquette poll actually has her up by 8 percentage points. Now, I don't believe it, but that's one of the polls. Now, there is a Rasmussen poll which shows Trump up 5. And Rasmussen tends to be the most reliable of all the polls. It's one of the polls that I always regularly look at because they're always they always can predict what's going to happen with relative certainty and reliability. So I trust Rasmussen more than almost any of the others. They are still showing Trump with a good lead. Nothing has changed, they said, in the race. He was up 5 on Biden. He's up 5 on Harris. But outside of Rasmussen, all of the other polls now show it is either a dead heat or Kamala now is slightly in the lead. And so Donald Trump yesterday held a press conference, and he was immediately asked by reporters, are you taking the campaign seriously? Are you now too overconfident? Are you underestimating Kamala Harris? Because the polls now show she's in the lead, or it's a draw, it's a tie, and the lead that you had over Biden is now gone. Listen now to Trump's response. Roll cut 4 Alex.
Mr. President, you have not had a public campaign event for nearly a week now. Tomorrow you'll be in Montana, which is not a swing state. Some of your allies have expressed concern that you're not taking this race seriously, particularly at a time where there is enthusiasm on the other side. Why haven't you been campaigning this week?
Because I'm leading by a lot and because I'm letting their convention go through.
So basically, he doesn't like the question. He said, it's a stupid question. And I'm going to get to more of his answer. Basically, he's like, hey, look, I'm doing phoners. I'm doing TV interviews. I'm doing radio interviews. We're cutting a lot of commercials. He's also trying to help Republicans win. People saying, what's he doing in Montana? Well, he's going after John Tester's seat. Democrat, vulnerable Democrat for the Senate. Trump is a party man. He doesn't want to just win for himself. He wants to have a Republican majority in the House and the Senate to enact his agenda. So that's why he's going up to places like Wyoming and Montana. A, to raise money, because the campaign needs money, but more importantly, to pick off some of these very vulnerable and important Democratic seats, like Tester's Senate seat in Montana. But listen to Trump's response. He says, no, I haven't taken anything for granted. Roll cut 4A, Mike.
I am campaigning a lot. I'm doing tremendous amounts of taping here. We have commercials that are at a level I don't think that anybody's ever done before. Plus, in certain cases, I see many of you in the room where I'm speaking to you on phones, I'm speaking to radio, I'm speaking to television. Television's coming over here. Excuse me, what are we doing right now? She's not doing any news conference. You know why she's not doing it? Because she can't do a news conference. She doesn't know how to do a news conference. She's not smart enough to do a news conference. And I'm sorry, we need smart people to lead this country because our country's never been in this danger before.
So basically he's saying, and he's right, she doesn't have the guts to do a press conference. She's running from the media, and this is a very friendly media. I mean, they're doing everything they can now, everything they can to bolster her and cover up for her. And I said this to Grace yesterday, and I want to repeat it. Normally, reporters, press corps, if you keep avoiding them and not answering their questions day after day after day, running away from them, a normal self-respecting reporter would be offended. I mean, they would say, what is this? What, a game of chicken? Like, we're here to follow you. We're here to ask you questions. You won't even take a few, frankly, softball questions. But they don't care. They absolutely don't care. And this is what shocked J.D. Vance. Couple days ago when J.D. Vance, he and Kamala landed at the same spot, okay, at the same airport, on the same runway. And so he said, well, hey, let me walk on over. And so literally he takes his Secret Service and he walks over to Air Force Two. And he's, part of it was like he's being tongue in cheek. Hey, I want to see my new plane. This is going to be my new plane in a couple of months. But part of it was to make a point. And he goes over to the press people, the press corps that are covering Kamala. And he said, she hasn't given you an interview in, weeks. She hasn't even answered a question in weeks. You must be really, really lonely. I mean, you're not doing anything. So ask me questions. If she doesn't have the guts to confront you and to answer basic questions, ask me questions. What surprised Vance was the sheer hostility from the entire press corps that follows Kamala. They're not offended that she's not coming out. They're not, they're not saying, oh my God, she's dissing us, she's disrespecting us. No. They love it that she's not coming out. If they can hide her, they're going to hide her. If they're going to protect her, they're going to protect her. That's their job. And so what they couldn't stand was J.D. Vance standing her up and calling her out. That's what exposing her, really, for the incompetent charlatan, the boob that she is. Now, back to my larger point. This is now Trump's growing frustration that the media is not just giving her a pass. The media is allowing her to hide, just like they did Joe Biden, and they're giving her gushing, fawning, over-the-top coverage. You want to talk about the second coming of Jesus? Ay, ay, ay. That's how they're trying to portray this woman. And they're whitewashing and erasing all of her past, all of her comments, all of her record, all of her policies in an attempt to pull a fast one over the American people. And so Trump called her out yesterday at the press conference and saying, look, you want to know the truth? I'm telling you the truth. She's not smart enough to do one of these. But I want to ask all of you this. What I heard from at last night's debate, not from the candidates, none of the candidates said this to me, but from the people in the audience, many walked up to me and said, Jeff, I'm nervous. I feel that Kamala has real momentum. I'm nervous about the polls. I'm nervous about the way Trump seems to be a little lackadaisical. Their words, not mine. And if you heard his first answer of the two cuts, he says, well, I'm going to let them have their convention. Well, their convention is still 10 days away. Why take your foot off the gas pedal? Get out, campaign, attack, attack, attack. Agree? 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, my friends. So I want to ask all of you, what do you make now of the Trump campaign? Are you worried? Do you think that things are going in the wrong direction? Or do you still feel supremely confident that Trump is going to win in November? 617-266-6868 is the number. The reason why I ask is, as I said last night at the Republican primary debate for the U.S. Senate, again, not from the candidates, but from people in the audience, and some of these are, they're lifelong Kuhner Country listeners. They are really strong supporters of the show, listeners of the show. When we were off air or after the debate, they walked up to me and they said, Jeff, I'm getting a little nervous. I said, why? Well, the polls are really showing a very tight race now, number one. In some polls, Kamala is now even leading. So they're getting nervous about the polls. And then number two, they feel that Trump, this is what they're telling me, that Trump has not really pivoted from Biden to Kamala yet. He's still talking about Joe Biden. He does go after Kamala, but it seems that there's a lack of message discipline and coherence to the Trump campaign, and they'd like to see much more of a reset. Now, I think what's influencing a lot of people is there have been several media reports. The big one was from the Washington Post. I don't trust the Washington Post, but this is the story now the media is pushing hard, that apparently people close to Trump are worried about the direction of the campaign, that they believe that Trump is underestimating Kamala Harris, that he doesn't seem to be taking her as seriously as he did Joe Biden. And part of it is because, and I'm going to play some of the cuts, he believes that she is colossally stupid and incompetent, which he may be right, but it's not her. It's the people behind her that I think is the real threat and the danger. It's not that you take her seriously. It's that you take this Democratic machine seriously. And they're worried that Trump is overconfident and that he is not aggressively attacking and focusing on Kamala and Tim Walz enough. And apparently Trump, they say, is complaining behind the scenes about the media coverage, that Kamala is getting all of this massive, just hugely positive, glowing media coverage, and that this is giving her a big bounce in the polls. And he now feels that the media is trying to do him in one more time. And furthermore, not only is he upset about the media coverage, he is also upset that the poll numbers now are starting to slip against Kamala. So my question to you, are you worried about Kamala Harris? Are you in the same boat as the people I spoke to yesterday? Do you feel that Trump needs a reset? That he's got to reboot his campaign, focus more on her, get out there more, do more rallies, and really hone in on attacking Kamala and Waltz and sticking to the issues? 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay. Listen now to Trump. This was him yesterday, and he's completely right, saying the world doesn't respect Harris, the world doesn't respect Biden. And he is convinced that eventually the American people are going to see just how bad Kamala Harris is for the United States and for the world. Listen to Donald Trump. Roll cut 4B, Alex.
From an outside perspective, Russia doesn't respect us anymore. China doesn't respect us anymore. North Korea, Kim Jong-un, liked me a lot. He doesn't like this group. We are in great danger. We're in great danger of being in World War III. That could happen. No, after their convention, yeah. And I'm going out to certain places to help certain senators get elected. Not even for me. I'm trying to help when I go out to Wyoming or when I go out to Montana, or I'm going to different places to help people. And I don't have to go there because I'm leading those states, as you know, by 35, 40, 50 points. I'm leading by record numbers. I'm going because I want to help senators and congressmen get elected.
So again, it goes back to, why are you going to Wyoming? Why are you going to Montana? These are, deep red states. You've got those already locked up. And he's saying, hey, look, I'm trying to, test. The answer is John Tester in Montana. He's a Democrat. He's very beatable now. And Trump is like, hey, look, I want us to get a Republican majority in the Senate. I'm thinking, not just for me. I'm thinking for the party, for our governing agenda. So I'm trying to help others win their races as well. Now, if you caught it, it's a few times he said it at yesterday's presser. He says, I'm going to really start unloading on Kamala, but after the convention. Well, the convention is August 18. And what is it? It ends, the 21st. So my point is, what is that? 10 days away? Why would you wait 10 days? Why give him that courtesy? When Republicans had their convention in Milwaukee, the Democrats, they didn't hold back. They kept pounding Trump nonstop. Then they pounded J.D. Vance. They started the whole, remember, he's weird. This whole weird smear and slur against J.D. and against Trump. So what I'm saying is, I don't know why Trump is waiting. Unload on her now. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, lines are jammed. We're going to go right to our phone lines. But first, this is fascinating. I have to tell you, I've never seen the audience this split. And it's practically 50-50. So let me just give you a taste of the divide in the audience. Obviously, the audience is for Trump. It's just the strategy of the election campaign. Okay, so this is from Diane. Here's what she emailed me. Hi, Jeff. And the reason why this one kind of stands out for me is because, as you know, Michael Savage really was my mentor in talk radio years ago. And I used to regularly fill in for him for years. So Diane mentions Michael Savage. Jeff, Michael Savage said Trump's campaign team is terrible and that Trump needs to push borders, language, and culture. Savage is right. Trump needs to change up his campaign team. I'm not worried, but President Trump needs to hammer what's been done to this country. And Savage said he needs to stop calling Kamala Harris stupid because it will turn away women voters. Interesting. Now, this is from Larry. Larry on Messenger messaged me maybe 10 minutes ago. And here's what Larry says, which is very opposite of what Diane says. Jeff, when your enemy is destroying herself, let them. The media wall protecting Harris and Waltz is collapsing. Interesting. Okay, this is two texts, both on opposite sides of this issue. One is from 917. Jeff, Trump is blowing this election. He's getting into name calling and insults. This is turning away voters, forgive me. He needs to recalibrate, stick to the issues, run against Kamala's record, her policies, what she's done. He will win. Here's a opposite text. This is from 617. Jeff, Kamala Harris is an incompetent idiot. The more Trump exposes her, the more she will collapse. I don't believe the polls. 617-266-6868 is the number. So let me ask you, do you think Trump needs to reset or reboot his campaign? And are you worried about these new batch of polls? 617-266-6868. Okay. The Kuhner Country poll question of the day. Sponsored by Mario's Roofing. Mario's quality roofing, siding, and windows. Is Trump being overconfident? That's what some, at least in his inner circle, are saying. They think he's underestimating Kamala, not taking her seriously enough as a potential electoral or political threat. Do you agree? Is Trump overconfident? A, yes. B, no. You can vote on our webpage. I want to hear from all of you. WRKO.com/Kuhner, Kuhn as in national ER. WRKO.com/Kuhner. Or if you prefer, you can vote via X, my handle there, at the Kuhner Report. All one word, KUHN as in national ER. Paul, you're going to kick us off. Paul in Weymouth. Go ahead, Paul.
Hey, Jeff. What an honor, my friend, to start the show. Thank you very much for choosing me. I'm going to tell you like this. I am a Trump voter and supporter, but he's blowing it. You know, the man, he just doesn't look presidential. He doesn't look professional. You don't speak that way about a woman. You don't trash talk a woman. You know, that's just number one. That's, you know, off the bat. My parents taught me that. Your parents taught you that. The fact that he's insulting Kamala the way he's doing, it just doesn't look good, man. He needs to stick to the facts. When he was on that show and with the African American ladies, and they asked him if Kamala was a DEI hire, the only thing he had to say was, yes, she was, because when Joe Biden picked her, he specifically told the American public he would hire a woman of color. That is the definition of DEI hire. But instead, he went off on a tangent that it's the first time he heard that she's black and this and that. When he did that, I knew we were in trouble. And you know what? I think it's going to be a close one, man. I'm losing confidence. For your poll question, I'm going to say he's not overconfident. He's arrogant.
Interesting. If you were advising him, Paul, what would you have him do differently? I know you're saying stop the trash talking and calling Kamala stupid and kind of verbally beating her up that way. What else? Would you have him just zero in on her record, on her radical ideas, her radical comments, her radical policies, and just keep it to the policy level? Is that what you advise him to do?
Well, I would advise him to go after those independent votes because, you know, you're not going to change the minds of the Democrat people. My sister-in-law, for example, is a diehard Democrat. She will vote for anyone who's a Democrat, regardless of what the truth of that person's character is. But most Democrats are like that. You know, they don't really care who it is. As long as it's a Democrat and not a scary Republican, they're going to vote for him. So you're not going to gain any Democrat votes. You're going to go after the independents. You want to go after people who are still on the fence. You know what I mean? He's catering to his base, but his base is going to vote for Trump no matter what. You know,
Interesting.
he needs to get those people out there. What do these people care about? The black community that typically votes Democrat. How do we get them to vote for Donald Trump? That's the question. And, you know, attacking somebody's race, it's not going to work on those guys. You know, look, Russia doesn't respect us. Korea doesn't respect us. That's Joe Biden's fault. Ultimately, it falls on the American people. We voted for the man. But that is Joe Biden's fault. Let's start going after the facts about Kamala, her running mate. You know, all we hear on the news about her running mate is how he said he retired as an E9, but he was really an E8. I mean, come on, you know, we're drawing at straws. It's getting petty at this point. You know, I'm sorry, but he's got to look a little more professional.
Paul, thank you very much for that call. 617-266-6868 is the number. I'm just curious, what do you make of what Paul is saying? I got to say, I mean, I don't fully agree with Paul, obviously, but there is one part where I say, like, for example, yesterday's press conference, much of the time he's bashing Biden. Now, he's right. Everything he said about Biden is true. Don't get me wrong. But as I'm watching, I'm like, yeah, but Biden's gone. I mean, I know he's in the White House, but he's not running. So your opponent now is Kamala. Forget Biden. You know, Biden's almost irrelevant at this point. The only thing that matters about Biden is what Kamala did with Biden and how she was a co-participant and a co-president in destroying this country. But to me, it's got to be all Kamala now. Forget bashing Biden. You got to go after Kamala. Kamala's your opponent. Kamala's the candidate you have to run against now. And that's what some people in the Trump camp are saying. It's as if when Biden dropped out, Trump kind of really didn't pivot fully to understand or comprehend that now you got a brand new opponent, which requires a brand new campaign. Anyway, that's what some people are saying. You may disagree, obviously. 617-266-6868 is the number. You can also text the Kuhner Man, 70470, 70470. Donald Trump now, does he need a reboot and a reset to his campaign? And are you like Paul and many others? Do you fear Trump may be blowing it? 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, many of you are reacting to Paul's call that Trump is arrogant, as he put it. He's a Trump supporter, he's a Trump voter, but he thinks, Jeff, he's not just being overconfident in the way he's approaching Kamala Harris and this reset of a campaign now that she took over from Joe Biden, but he thinks that, in fact, he's blowing it by insulting her, trashing her. He thinks that turns off a lot of voters, especially female voters. So I can go on about the text line is going to blow. Here's just a taste of the reaction I'm getting. Jeff, I'm sorry, but Jeff Deal was nice and polite against both Liar Watha, Elizabeth Warren, and Hold It Maura Healey. And both, quote-unquote, women chewed him up and spit him out. In other words, they're going to be brutal with you. You better be brutal with them. Agree, disagree, 617-266-6868. Linda in Cambridge. Thanks for holding, Linda, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff.
Hi, Linda.
Jeff. Listen. Okay. First of all, that statement that you just read is accurate. I don't care if he sends mean tweets. I don't care if he's arrogant. I don't care. What I care about is losing this country, Jeff. Okay? That's what I'm concerned about. People that are saying this, oh, well, come on. Look at the state of our country. What is wrong with you people? That's number one. Number two, they're letting the real person who has control of this out of the equation, Jeff. That is God, okay? And God has his right hand on Donald Trump, all right? And I am going to tell you, I called your show, when Trump won that night you were on late. God told me before that he was not going to win. And you know why, Jeff? Because people are getting arrogant. People are getting evil, Jeff. And God said, for the next 4 years, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you what you're asking for, and then see how you like it. And that's exactly what God has done, Jeff. He is everything that Donald Trump told us, God has verified it, Jeff. He has verified it. And I am going to tell you that stop worrying, okay? Because the only one who can take care of this is God. And he brought us to Trump for a reason. And now and this is what I don't understand, Jeff, that gets me really ticked off is, the soccer moms and the mothers are not going to vote for Trump. Listen, they are manipulating your children with pure evil. They want to do all these things to your kids in school and everything, and you're going to tell me because he's arrogant and he does this and says that, you're going to let that continue with your kids? Are you serious?
That's a great point. Linda, that's a really, really, really good point. Linda, thank you very, very much for that call. No, look, I have to tell you, I so agree with you. There are, you're right, these soccer moms, or what do you want to call them? Some, I mean, not all, obviously, but, some of these suburban, professionals and they're going on. I mean, I've met them. He said she's not really black. She's just black now. How could he say? I'm so offended. And now, whatever you think of the statement, whether it was good, bad, smart, stupid, whatever, I'm thinking, well, they tried to assassinate him. They nearly blew his brains out. They're calling him Hitler, a dictator, an existential threat to democracy. I mean, they're calling every name in the book. You can't get more vicious than that. And this guy turns around and, he gives her a little shot about, all of a sudden now she's black, because she has been promoting herself for most of her life as an Indian American. And it's like the sky is falling. They're going on about, but he said she's only just discovered that she's black. That's so insulting. He crossed the line. I'm like, hey, look, I don't know what to tell you. Okay. I mean, so she wants to literally allow the entire world to pour into the United States and give them all, by the way, free, meaning taxpayer-funded health care. She's going to bankrupt us. We're finished. I'm telling you, she wins, we're finished. Okay, you want illegals living in your home? Okay. Like, I don't know what to tell. After a certain point, I don't know what to tell you. 617-266-6868. Logic, reason, facts, evidence, reality can only go so far. After a while, if you're determined to destroy yourself, there's nothing anybody can do. Craig, I'm talking about these soccer moms, some of these soccer moms, that everything Trump says, it's offensive and it bothers them and they twist themselves and contort themselves and yelling, shouting, screaming. I'm like, okay. Forget $4 a gallon gas. You get Kamala, it's going to be $6, $7 a gallon gas. Don't come crying to me. Craig in Byfield. Thanks for holding, Craig, and welcome.
Hi, Jeff. I'm an 81-year-old veteran, and I think Trump's going to sharpen his pencil and get back out on the trail. But last night I was very disappointed to hear John say that he didn't vote for Trump and he's not going to vote for Trump. And
John Deaton. Sorry, Craig, just in case people, the debate last night, John Deaton, he was one of the three candidates. Go ahead.
And, not voting for Trump is a vote for Harris. And the other thing he said was, or he implied that he was very satisfied with our gun laws in Massachusetts. Our gun laws in this state, our Second Amendment rights have been eroded. It's terrible. So I think Bob's got my endorsement, and I think John's going to I think he's got to sharpen his pencil and rethink this.
Oh, you think Deaton has to? You're saying has to because you started with Trump. So but you're saying you think Deaton now has to rethink his opposition to Trump, correct?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if he's not going to vote for Trump, it's a vote for Harris. We need all the Trump votes we can muster.
Well, Craig, I have to say, what did surprise me, and I want to stay on topic, but what did surprise me about last night's debate, and look, I appreciated they showed up. They were very well prepared. I thought it was a good, smart, intelligent, lively debate. But the two of the three candidates, John Deaton and Ian Kane, when I asked them, will you be voting for Trump? Not only did they say no, and they didn't vote for Trump in the past, and they're not going to vote for him again in 2024, but they said they wouldn't vote for anybody. But I said, well, will you vote for Trump? Will you vote for Kamala? Will you vote for Robert F. Kennedy Jr.? And I don't know, I was a bit surprised that both of them said, we're not voting for anybody. I'm like, okay. Okay. I don't know, I just, anyway. I'm just giving you my honest gut reaction. Craig, thank you very much for that call. I really appreciate it. By the way, though, Deaton did win our poll. I mean, just, to be fair, Deaton won the poll. I think, what was it, Sandy? 82%? 83%? 83% of our viewers or listeners thought that he won the debate last night. Antonellis finished second with, I believe, 11%, and Ian Kane 6%. So, 617, there you have it. 617-266-6868 is the number. I want to go back to Craig's point that Trump has got, as he put it, sharpen his pencil. In other words, focus, get more disciplined, and get out on that campaign trail and focus like a laser beam on Kamala Harris. Do you agree? Or disagree? 617-266-6868. Jack in the great state of Indiana. Thanks for holding, Jack, and welcome.
Hey, you know what?
Hi, Jack. Go ahead.
Trump doesn't care about Kamala because I'm 10 years older than you are. Do you remember the old saying, I don't mind because you don't matter? You remember that saying?
Yes.
No, that's what Trump's doing. He don't care. She don't matter.
So you're basically saying by almost, well, I'm going to say ignoring her. That's not the right word, but by slapping her around verbally and going on about how she's stupid and she's incompetent and really not showing any kind of respect for her whatsoever. He's really highlighting what a non-entity she is. Correct, Jack?
Correct. She is stupid. Her cheese fell off the cracker. Or the cracker fell off the cheese. I don't know how she is stupid. And you want her to be our
our president.
She's a vice president now, but you want her to be our president and Tampon Tim? You want him to be our vice president? No.
Jack, of course I agree with you. Don't get me wrong. I think these two are a disaster, beyond a disaster. But this is what I'm hearing from a lot of people here in Kuhner country who are big Trump voters, as you know, and big Trump supporters. So here's, if they were at the kitchen table with you and they'd say, oh, look, Jack, I agree with you. Of course, she's dumb as a box of rocks. But if you keep calling her dumb as a box of rocks, if you keep calling her stupid and stupid and stupid, this is a turnoff to many voters. Like, just from a strategic or tactical point of view, let her speak. And the moment she opens her mouth, everybody will say, oh, she really is that stupid. In other words, sometimes things are better left unsaid because people can figure it out on their own. What do you say to that argument?
That's true. I have to agree with you on that.
No, it's not. It's not me. I don't mind when he calls her stupid, if you want to know the truth, because I think she is stupid. But I'm just saying, this is what a lot of people are saying. Like, in other words, tactically, they don't think it's smart on the part of Trump to be doing that. So I just wanted to know what you see. What's your argument? What's your counter argument to that?
Watch her speeches. That's all you got to do.
Jack, thank you very, very much for that call. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay. Okay. This is from Mark. And, I think Mark says what a lot of you are thinking. Mark on Messenger. Jeff, I do agree that Donald J. Trump has to tone down the insults, but, and this is all in caps, on the other hand, you, me, and everyone else has been saying it's time to take the gloves off. After all, look what they have been saying about Donald J. Trump. Listen to what they call him. Look at what they're trying to do to him, for God's sake. They tried to kill the man. So with that being said, I kind of don't blame him for being, and this is all in caps, just a little pissed off. With exclamation points. And yes, he should constantly run ads before and during the Democratic National Convention. Mark, I'm with you on that. I really am. I don't like this idea of a bit of a pause. In other words, I'll let them have their convention. I'm like, this is all out war, man. Let them, fine. I mean, of course, let them have their convention. I'm not saying hijack the thing. But run ads, do rallies, attack, criticize, campaign. Don't let up. Especially not now. I mean, this is still a week away. So I'm like, they didn't give you a grace period. Why should you give them a grace period? I don't know. Am I wrong? 617-266-6868. Eddie in Maine. Thanks for holding, Eddie, and welcome.
Hey, Jeff. Eddie, Sebago Lake, Maine. How are we doing?
I'm great. How are you, Eddie?
Very good, thank you. I think President Trump, he got to put his surrogates, his help out there every day doing what he's doing, the dirty work. Just like Vince did. Vince popped up out of nowhere, and he did a hell of a good job. And President Trump just could focus on the economy, you know, the way the country's going, and everything's going down the tubes, and doesn't have to use all this nasty language because everybody else out there doing it for him, you know what I mean? And the big thing, all he needs is have a couple of people go to these, wherever her things are, and hold up signs that Elizabeth Warren never, ever apologized for her background with slaves. Most African Americans don't know that. As soon as they find it, they turn their nose up on her.
Oh, sorry. You mean Eddie? You mean Kamala Harris?
I'm sorry. Forgive me. Kamala Harris.
Yeah, no, it's okay because we had the debate last night about Elizabeth Warren. No, I got you. That's an excellent point, Eddie. I got to say, I don't want to speak for all these people that are telling Trump he's got to tone it down and stop with the insults. But from what I'm reading and from what I'm hearing from them is, they're not saying don't go after Kamala. They're not saying, for example, what you just pointed out. Hey, no, who are you to lecture us on reparations or on racism? Your own family were the biggest slaveholders in Jamaica. They want him to say stuff like that. They think it's brilliant and effective. I think it's the stupid. She's really stupid. She's even dumber than Biden. Okay, if you want to say it once or twice, but I think what they're saying is it's just, it comes across, they're saying, as ungentlemanly. That's the argument that they're making. After a while, it becomes off-putting, and that they believe it's alienating or turning people off. What do you say to that, Eddie?
I agree. He can still say something, but not, really nasty. Like this is Kamala's work. The border is so messed up. The economy is so screwed up, all because of her. You know what I mean? And try to keep it a little insult, but not too dirty. That's what these surrogates are out on the road, and they got to do it.
Well, that's exactly it. No, Eddie, I love that point. Look, that's why you got J.D. Vance. That's why you have me. Like, that's why, and people like me. Don't worry. We'll cut her up. It's okay. In other words, you can be a little more presidential. You can give us the vision. You can give us, and look, he's got a checkmate argument. I have to tell you, I don't know why he doesn't use it more often. He does use it, and when he uses it, it's devastating. I did it already. You want me to lower inflation? I did it. You want $2 a gallon gas? I did it. You want peace around the world? I did it. You want energy independence? I did it. You want lower food and grocery prices? I did it. You want safe streets? I did it. You want a secure border? I did it. It's an unbeatable argument. So I don't know why he doesn't use it more often. You know, it's like a boxer who's got a devastating uppercut. And I'm like, okay, when he uses it, it's a knockout blow, but use it more often. Like, to me, if you got a killer punch, use the killer punch. So, Eddie, I think so a lot of it, if you notice, we're not talking about his 4 years and these 4 years, which Kamala Harris owns. It's always other side issues. And, that's, I think, the frustration that some people feel. Eddie, thank you very much for that call. 617-266-6868. Agree, disagree. Dave in Dunstable. Thanks for holding, Dave, and welcome.
Hi, Jeff. Thanks for taking the call.
My pleasure, Dave.
Jeff, I think I don't know what's going on with people, but Trump has been shot at. He's always been, like what Mark was saying there on the text line, he's always being ridiculed and made fun of by all the Democrats and the news media. I mean, of course he's going to say things. They're out there, Harris and Tampon Tim are out there calling him and Vance weird and all kinds of names. What's he supposed to do?
Well, that's a very good point. That's a very, very good point. Dave, if I'm getting, how much time left, Alex? Okay. Dave, if I'm getting too personal, and you'll see why. Okay, I'm not asking it for a random reason. Dave, what is your ethnic background?
I'm white, Jeff.
No. No, I know you're white, but I mean, like, are you like part Irish or, I don't know, I'm just,
Yeah, I'm Irish, yep.
Fully Irish or half Irish?
Full Irish.
Okay. Just for, pretend with me. Say you were half Irish and, I don't know, half Scottish. Hang on, because I'm going to ask you a $64,000 question. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, let's go right back to Dave in Dunstable. Dave, so I know you're fully Irish. I get it. And you should be very proud to be fully Irish. Please don't get me wrong. But just for the sake of argument, let's say you were half Scottish, half Irish. Okay? Half Scots, half Irish. What would bother you more? If I said, what do you mean? Dave is Scottish now all of a sudden? Since he's been playing up his Irish identity ever since I've known him. Now all of a sudden, because he's got to run a race, an election where there's a lot of Scottish Americans, all of a sudden now he's discovered himself as a Scots? What is that? In other words, I'm, calling into question your identity, your ethnic identity of yourself. Would that bother you more, in all honesty? Or, Dave's, he's second coming of Adolf Hitler. Dave, if Dave wins, he's an existential threat to democracy. He's going to round all of you up. He's going to put you in jail. He's going to kick you out of the country. Hell, it'll be the end of elections. The man is a dictator. The man is a mass murderer. The man is a criminal. The man belongs behind bars. So, the man is the worst human being on the planet. He's a Nazi. He's a white supremacist. What would bother you more? That I'm calling into question whether you're really of Scottish descent, or you're manufacturing your Scottish identity, or that basically you're the second coming of Hitler and you're neo-Nazi scum. What would bother you more, Dave?
Well, Jeff, since we're playing pretend, I'd rather you call me an Indian like Pocahontas. but of course being called Hitler would bother me more. It's All Trump is doing is speaking the truth. Jeff, look what she did she was on the news saying that Trump's the one that did this to the border and she's going to fix it. And people are buying this stuff up. He's got to talk truth. He's got to be himself, Jeff. And then another thing I wanted to say, how you're saying that he's not doing as many rallies and stuff. It's because he was shot at. The Secret Service is telling him that he's going to get shot at again. I wouldn't be in a rush to do a million rallies either. What he has to do is the commercials. He's got to get the commercials on TV.
That's an excellent point. That's an excellent point. One of the reasons why they've slowed down on the rallies is because the Secret Service told them, we can't guarantee your protection. I mean, they openly told them, especially if you do an outdoor rally. And, you're right. And the guy was shot. I mean, let's give the guy a bit of a break. No, I'm with you. Dave, thank you very, very much for that call. I really, really appreciate it. 617-266-6868 is the number. But my point being, whatever you think about his comment about Kamala, okay, now all of a sudden she's black. And the way the liberals and the media have freaked out and amplified this and turned it into, I don't know what, he's such a racist. Whatever you think about it, okay? The names they call him. Hell, Kamala keeps calling him a fascist, a dictator, Hitler, a threat to democracy. So they haven't stopped vilifying this guy. Now, I'll be honest with you. He's not, Jeff Kuhner is really not of Croatian descent. Whatever, dude. Whatever. Get lost. What would hurt me more, what is to me much more damaging, is if I'm being called a wannabe mass murdering neo-Nazi dictator. I mean, fascist, racist, Hitler are some of the worst things you could possibly be called in today's society. And this fear-mongering that if he wins, he's going to suspend the Constitution, suspend all elections, make himself dictator for life, that is the worst defamation, the worst smear ever in American politics. So this is what I don't get. The soccer moms, not all, but some of these so-called aggrieved soccer moms, that doesn't offend you. But him questioning Kamala Harris's so-called black identity, that does? Here, ask them. If I accused you of being a racist and a white supremacist and a Hitler lover, what's worse? That or whether you're really half Italian and half Irish? I'm just making up an ethnicity here. Or whatever, half white, half black, whatever. I know what would bother me more. I'll tell you this. I know what would cost me my job. Whether I'm half German, half Croatian, or what, who cares? But if they can label me as a white supremacist, neo-Nazi, Hitler-loving thug, I'm gone. And so is everybody else. So think about it. What would destroy you at work and in society? It's what they're accusing Trump of. That's the much worse, vicious attack and insult. But then again, that's me. John in Carver. Thanks for holding, John, and welcome.
Hey, good morning, Jeff.
Hi, John.
I was calling in this morning to, I'm a candidate for Plymouth 2nd District for the House of Representatives.
Hey, John, what is are you John Gasky?
Yes, I am.
Yes, go ahead, John. Yes, John Gasky. Go ahead, yes.
Yeah, I was just, if we're talking about what's happening right now with the Trump campaign, I think that the voters need to vote with courage. And I think it's also really important that our local politicians have the courage of their convictions as well.
Let me tell you what your problem is. Okay, here's your problem. You are in many ways the Trump of your district because the Massachusetts GOP, Amy Carnevale, let's call her out, and the Republican establishment are out to destroy people like you. Hang on, I'm up against a hard break. More next. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, let's go right back to John Gasky in Carver. John, if you don't mind, because I want people to know exactly who and what you are. What district are you running for in the Republican primary?
Plymouth 2nd District down in Carver, Middleborough, and Wareham.
Okay, excellent. And so I know that the Republican establishment is gunning for you. Amy Carnevale now is throwing her full support behind the establishment Rhino candidate. I'm not surprised. And they're doing to you what they tried to do to Trump. Please, John, pick up where you left off.
Yeah, so, well, with regards to what the Mass GOP is doing is they've cut me off from being able to get my message out through my mailers and different things like that by keeping me from taking advantage of any of the GOP offers with regards to reduced rates on postage and things like that, signs and different things like that. So it's costing my campaign a whole lot more than my opponents. And
well, they're trying to rig it against you. I mean, they're trying to muzzle you. They're trying to silence you. And, you know, you're a very polite man and you're a very honest and decent man. And so, you know, you don't want to insult people. I understand that. They're trying to railroad you and rig this thing against you. And my question to you, John, is this. What does Amy Carnevale and the Republican establishment have against you? What are they so afraid of? Is it because you're a genuine Trump supporter? Is it because you're a real conservative? Is it because you say what you mean and you mean what you say? Is it because you're not bought and paid for? Why is she determined to, by the way, she's technically as the chair of the Mass GOP. I don't want to get sidetracked here, but this is the kind of scum we're dealing with, okay? She's supposed to be neutral. In any primary, she is supposed to be, like I was last night at the debate. I'm not even the chair of anything. But as a talk show host, as a journalist, it was a debate between these three candidates. Everybody knows where I stand on the issues. But I asked them all the same questions. I gave them all the same exact amount of time. I treated them all with the utmost respect and courtesy. And all three candidates shook my hand afterwards and said, you were immensely fair, immaculately fair. I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm just saying, if I can do that to three candidates running in the Republican primary, why can't she, as the chair of the Mass GOP, do the same thing? She's supposed to be technically the chair of the entire party. And yet here she's clearly gunning for every single conservative or MAGA supporter. And so, John, my question to you is, why? Why is she so afraid of you? What is it about you that scares her and her rhino hacks so much?
Well, to start with, your list of options that you went down, I think it's every one of those things. I am what they are supposed to be representing, and as somebody who is currently being represented by the establishment, I am angry. I'm angry about what's happening. I'm angry about the billions that everybody's voting for in the budget for the illegal immigration, to support the illegal immigration. I am angry about the state-funded gender surgeries. I'm angry about all the pro-abortion talk. We should be saving our children. We should be having more children. We should be expanding our families. And, on top of all that, this Green New Deal garbage that's going on with the elimination of gas-powered vehicles, small engines, and everything else. They're trying to take natural gas out of our homes so that we can't.
In short, John, no, look, John, I got to say this, and I'm not saying this to, stroke your own ego. Look, you want to offer a real alternative. You want to give real opposition to these radical Democrats that are running Beacon Hill, they have the governor's office, and that are driving this state into the ground. You're not there to get rich. You're not there to go along to get along. You're not there to line your own pockets. You're not there to be controlled opposition. And I'm telling you, that's why Amy Carnevale, I'm telling you, like really honestly, that's why the Republican establishment wants you gone. Because you may win and you're going to inspire others to challenge the regime and to challenge the entire corrupt swamp here in Massachusetts. So, John Gasky, can you, very super quick, what's your district again?
Plymouth 2nd District, for Carver, Middleborough, and Wareham.
Best of luck. Best of luck, John. John, thank you very much for calling. 617-266-6868 is the number. John in Groveland. Thanks for holding, John, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. To get back to Kamala Harris and what's
and
going
Trump.
on.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
Trump. The press has sealed her in a protective shield wall, a bubble, if you will. It's, 19, 20 days since she's announced to be the candidate for president, and she hasn't spoken to the press. She hasn't come out. So Biden got the votes. They slid her in, and yet she hasn't come out and spoken to anyone. Have you ever seen anything like this before in American politics?
No. Technically, she took a few questions in Michigan yesterday, I believe. She answered a few questions, but this wasn't a serious press conference. This was a couple questions, real softballs. And if you want, I'll play a couple of the cuts. One of them, it was an unbelievable answer. They say, well, you're not doing any interviews. And her answer is, now, what was yesterday? August 8th. Okay, we're August 9th today. So this is August 8th. As you're right, this was several weeks ago now? She became the presumptive nominee. Now she's the official nominee. They did it through virtual, Zoom. So, and by the way, not one delegate opposed her. Even Stalin, I swear to you, even Stalin had about 1% opposition when they would do these things under the old Soviet Union. This was only Saddam Hussein got 100% to zero. But anyway, let that go. And she says, well, I may do an interview by the end of the month. Like, in other words, in 3 more weeks. Yeah, I'll give you guys something by September. Sure, September 1st? I think so. And these zombies in the press corps, like, okay, nodding their heads up and down. This is pathetic. Honestly, I don't think the media realize how much we hold them in contempt. These people are an absolute joke. If you're gonna prop somebody up, okay, but at least, I don't know, pretend like you're doing your jobs. Do it with a little bit of finesse. They're so open about it. Please continue, John.
Yeah, so to get back to these polls that are showing her neck and neck with Trump, and in some instances actually ahead of Trump, I don't believe it for a second, not a single second. In 2020, the presidential primary, she was polling at less than 1%, Jeff, less than 1%. And in fact, 2 weeks ago, a little over 2 weeks ago, before the switch out between Biden and her, Politico ran a thing saying that her poll numbers are actually lower than Biden's. And Trump was blowing Biden out back then. So all of these polls, they're fake, they're skewed. I've actually seen a couple polls in the last week or two. I believe they were on X. just random polls run for 24 hours. Quite a bit of people, 300,000 people. Trump's blowing her out by 15, 16, 17 points.
Well, the poll that the group that I trust the most is Rasmussen. They've been the most accurate now for at least a decade. And they have Trump leading her nationally by 5. In the battleground states by even more. So Rasmussen is saying, don't believe the other polls. They're garbage. 617-266-6868 is the number. You can also text us 70470, 70470. This is a really interesting email from Kevin. Jeff, Trump's already learned that the quote-unquote nicey-nicey approach backfires. Remember when he was advised to take that approach in the first debate with Hillary? She and the Democrats only seized on it. He needs to stay on the offense, but I do agree he should attack her on her abysmal record. Secondly, I'm watching conservative voters letting all this Democrat propaganda rattle their cages. Stop getting cold feet, people. We're in a war. Maintain your resolve, keep your eyes on the prize, and fight, fight, fight. So basically, he's saying, yes, Trump needs to stay tough. Maybe, lay off some of the name calling. And people should not get worried about the polls. Focus on attacking Harris and Waltz. And if we do that, everything else will take care of itself. Agree, disagree. 617-266-6868 is the number. Donna in Boston. Thanks for holding, Donna, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff.
Hi, Donna.
I'm a forever listener. I'm a female in every sense of the word and an independent. It is not Donald Trump who needs to speak up more. It is the people, the good people of this world, people of integrity. Kamala, who alleges that she is the presidential candidate, is not ignorant. She totally lacks integrity and has no sense of morality. She is no model for young women, older women, or people in general. Do blacks really want her to represent them? No. She demeans women every day. We and our children don't want to be trampled on the way she's been trampled on. She accepts money so men and women can trample on her. Where are you, women and men, with self-pride, black or white? Speak up.
Donna, thank you very much for that call. I really appreciate it. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, this was yesterday. Trump, Mar-a-Lago, at his impromptu presser. And notice, he took questions from everybody. The New York Times, the Washington Post, this is CNN, NBC News, you name it. A lot of them were hostile questions. The media was out to get him, and he stood his ground. Unlike Kamala, he's not running. Listen now, he's asked by a reporter, is Kamala Harris worse than Joe Biden? Listen now to Trump's response. Roll cut 6, Alex.
You think Kamala Harris is worse than President Biden? I know you said you think you're very.
No, I think she's actually not as smart as he is.
Well, you said you think you're very.
I don't think he's very smart either, by the way. I'm not a big fan of his brain, but I think that she's actually not as smart as he is.
So he's basically saying you're going to get the same policies, but she's even dumber and more incompetent than he is. And so then this reporter, again, it's a very hostile media, they're out to get him, says, well, yeah, if she's so, dumb and stupid as you say she is, why is she now rising in the polls? And in fact, in many of the polls, she's caught you, and in some places, she even has a slight lead. Listen to Trump's response. Roll cut 6A, Mike. Alex, sorry.
So what do you attribute her rising in the polls as becoming a more competitive race since she's taken over?
She's a woman. She represents certain groups of people. But I will say this. When people find out about her, I think she'll be much less. And I see it right now. I see her going way down in the polls now. Now that people are finding out that she destroyed San Francisco, she destroyed the state of California along with Governor Gavin Newsom. Well, he's been a terrible governor, terrible. But they did it together. And she was early. I mean, she was the first of the prosecutors, really. You know, now you see Philadelphia, you see Los Angeles, you see New York, you see various people that are very bad. But she was the first of the bad prosecutors. She was early.
So he's going after her record as a prosecutor, as an attorney general, obviously as vice president, as senator. But then they're going on about, yeah, but she seems to have picked back or taken back, picked off a lot of the black voters that had abandoned Joe Biden. And we're going to vote for you. According to the polls, many of them now are returning to the Democratic fold. They say they're going to return and vote for Kamala. So how do you explain this fact that this is according to these reporters, that the polls show she's starting a surge with black voters and especially black men? Listen now to Trump's response. It's very interesting. Roll cut 7. Alex.
In polls, we really see Harris gaining ground with that group. And I'm wondering how you are going to go after black voters now that she's the nominee and really winning them over.
Well, it changes around a little bit. I'm getting other voters. Perhaps, I was doing very well with black voters, and I still am. I seem to be doing very well with black males. This is according to polls, as you know. It's possible that I won't do as well with black women, but I do seem to be doing very well with other segments, extremely well with Hispanic. Jewish voters way up. White males way up. White males have gone through the roof. White males way up.
So basically, he's saying, yeah, I may lose a few black women, but because she's in bed with the Hamas wing of the Democratic Party, and she's such a radical on the border and on unlimited mass immigration and her other really communist policies, I'm going to pick up other voting blocks. So, don't worry about me. In other words, he's very confident. He keeps saying over and over again, he's going to win. She can't beat him. She's not smart. She's too incompetent. And whatever votes she's picking up, she's bleeding. It's being offset by her losing and bleeding votes elsewhere. So my question to you, do you agree with Trump? Do you think that that he is going to win? That he doesn't really need to change his campaign very much? That once this sugar high of the novelty of Kamala as this presidential candidate wears off, and he says it will wear off within a couple of weeks, once she holds a couple of press conferences, they're going to have a debate. I'm going to get to that in the next segment. There will be at least one debate. He thinks the more she talks, the worse her numbers are going to get. Do you agree with Trump? 617-266-6868. Okay, I'm going to go to all your calls, but first, 8 o'clock, you know what that means. Kuhner's Call Log. Caller of the Week.
It's time for Kuhner's Call Log, sponsored by MyPillow.com, where we showcase our favorite caller from the week.
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Thanks for holding, Betty.
I am pissed off. This is such an outrage. I played women's sports, softball, volleyball, and I remember we didn't even like showering with the girls. When we came in, we would put up shower curtains. And I just want to know, whose idea was it to say, okay, this is an absolute end to the frickin' O. Flat out no. I want the people to be put in the ring with their hands tied behind their back and just take a few hits. It's absolutely disgusting. It was like they're setting her up to fail. I mean, it was so heart-wrenching. She's doing it for her father. She's doing it for all the right reasons. And this is what the left is doing. They're just pulling the rug out from under you. This is a disgrace. And you're absolutely right. This should be boycotted. I would have gotten that ring. I would have lifted my shirt and said, I have boobs, you lose, raised my hand in victory. I would have started airboxing around the ring and singing my national anthem.
And next week, it could be you on Kuhner's Call Log. Sponsored by MyPillow.com.
Please, don't be a stranger. Call again. That obviously was in reaction to the big story about that boxer from Algeria who's at the Olympics, who's got male chromosomes, is a man. Got testosterone, he's a man. And he's boxing as a female and nearly killed an Italian boxer. And at the end, she just broke down sobbing and smashed her nose, almost gave her a concussion. And it's reignited the debate about whether biological men should compete in women's sports. So it was a great call. It was a tough week because there were so many good callers this week. Anyway, my friends, Kuhner's Call Log is sponsored by MyPillow. Take advantage of MyPillow's $25 extravaganza. Right now, you can get amazing deals on select items like 2-pack MyPillows, fashionable sandals, luxury towel sets, all for just $25 each. Also, snag a 4-pack dish towels and the new premium MyPillows in Giza fabric. Yep, $25. Order today at MyPillow.com, MyPillow.com, or call 1-800-972-2316, 1-800-972-2316, and don't forget to use the promo code WRKO. All right, let's go to Paul in New Hampshire. Thanks for holding, Paul, and welcome.
Hey, how are you? Good morning, Jeff.
Hi, Paul.
I got 2 points to make, and the second one is far more important than the first, and it's about like your kids' education, what they're teaching you. So I have a challenge for you to get them out. Call Grace during the break or whatever, and by the end of the show, you should have them out because, like the last woman said about integrity. Now, everyone has a record, right? Bill Clinton has the flight record to Epstein Island. I think the only thing he has in common with the Hill the Beasts is they both like women, and the younger the better, but we'll let that go, as you say, right? Tampon Tim, he has a service record, and like John Kerry, he was called out by his compatriots for being a deserter. I shouldn't even say compatriots, because the guy isn't a compatriot. He's a deserter, right? Biden has a record. Trump has a record. We all have a record. Now, to heels up Dome Kamala, she has a work record, right? All we have to do is check and see if she's ever worked at a 7-Eleven. Then we will know if she is a true Indian, because according to Joe Biden, you have to have a slight Indian accent to work there. What say you, Jeff?
Well, that's the thing, Paul, really. I mean, you're, tongue in cheek, but you've really made I think a really excellent point, which is they're getting all hot and bothered over certain comments that Trump made regarding Kamala Harris. Look at the blatantly racist stuff that Joe Biden has said repeatedly. Nothing. You're completely right. I mean, he was caught on tape going about, in Delaware, Indian Americans are doing great. You can't go into any 7-Eleven without hearing a slight Indian accent. You just can't. Nothing. He used the N-word. To me, this is the one that for the last 4 years, I can't wrap my mind around. He used the N-word at least a dozen times. The guy literally palled around with segregationists. He openly praised the Cyclops, the Grand Cyclops of the KKK, Robert Byrd. Said he was my mentor, my friend. Nothing. Trump makes one off-color comment, and he's got no filter. That's what I like about him. To me, it's what I find him endearing. It's sometimes his greatest strength. It's also sometimes maybe his worst enemy. But it's like, look, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to BS you. You ask me a question, I'm going to give you an honest answer. she always plugged herself and promoted herself as an Indian American, which is true. I'm just telling you it's true. Now all of a sudden she's black because she's got to win votes and she's got to pander to the black community. So what he's saying is she's a con and she's a fraud and she's a phony. Now I think what people in his campaign are saying, and they're not saying this out of malice, they're saying that may all be true, but now you're getting sucked into side debates and rabbit holes when the real issue is, for most Americans, who's going to help me with my bills? Who's going to help me lower, I got to feed my family. I got to go to work. I got to buy groceries. I got to put food on the table. And Kamala has such a disastrous record that this is what Trump should really be focusing on like a laser. And so that's why they're saying he needs a campaign reset. He's got to forget attacking Joe Biden. Joe Biden is not on the ballot, and Joe Biden will not be on the ballot, and that he's got to train all of his guns now on Harris Waltz and do a compare and contrast. And they say if he does that, because all the fundamentals favor him in this race. The economy, it favors Trump. Security, it favors Trump. The border, immigration, favors Trump. I mean, everything favors Trump. So what they're saying is, if you stick to the big issues and say, look at the 4 years under Biden-Harris, and she's promising more, not less, more. And then look at my 4 years. It's a no-brainer. And that's how you win the independents. That's how you win those swing states. That's how you win the Electoral College. Good night, Irene. So they're saying he's got to reboot his campaign. My question is, do you agree? Do you?
No.
And Paul, before you answer, one last thing. Again, that's how I started my show, and it's, I've never seen Kuhner country like this. 50-50. And, they're all for Trump, but 50-50. And it was last night. I was just surprised how many said it to me. Not the candidates. Again, it was the audience. And they walked up to me afterward. Yeah, great debate. We enjoyed the debate. They go, but I'm worried about these polls. I'm like, really? Yeah, Jeff, I'm worried that she's got momentum. I'm worried that she may win. I'm worried. This is the big thing. I'm worried that Trump is overconfident, that he's underestimating her. That, he keeps going on. She's stupid. She's stupid. She may be stupid, but the people behind her are not. And they're like, this is not the time to get cocky and overconfident. And that's what they fear. My question to you, Paul, you agree or disagree?
No, I don't think he has to do anything but keep doing what he's doing. He's not overconfident. That's just the man he is. That's his record. He's a confident man. He's one of the at least top 5 presidents. They come around, once a century, a great man like that. We had everything running like this country was running like a Swiss clock, for Christ's sakes. So, he's fighting against the swamp right now. And he's fighting for us. For us. We are in charge of the government, not the other way around. I don't care how many F-16s Joe Biden has to sick on me. You know what? Freedom is invaluable. Without freedom, we're dead.
Life's not worth living. I agree with you. Really, life is not worth living. I really, truly agree with you. Paul, thank you very, very much for that call. 617-266-6868. Verna in Arlington. Thanks for holding, Verna, and welcome.
Hey, hi there, Jeff. Good morning. Thank you very much, as always. Just a couple of comments. I did listen. I listened to the press conference yesterday with Trump, and I thought he was masterful. I thought he was great, and I thought he was really good. And he has done a lot of rallies recently, maybe not this past week, but every week he was doing several rallies. I would listen to all of them on Newsmax. So I want to point that out to people. He has been very active in that way, maybe not this past week. But I did want to say I listened to the debate last night, and I was really shocked. I thought this is a Republican debate, and yet two of them are not supporting the Republican ticket. And when you ask them, are they going to vote for Trump, Harris, or Robert Kennedy, and they said none of the above, I just sat there and I was in shock. Like, who are they? Like, what are they? Why are they running in a Republican race here? And it just didn't make a lot of. They both had good answers. They all had good answers, but I really want to put, a shout out for Bob there, Medford, Bob Antonellis. I just think he had wonderful answers and that he can go a long way. So I just really wanted to put that out there and just say I was shocked. And I don't think the other two listened to you. I'm going to guess they don't even listen to you on the radio. But anyway, they did have some good answers. And regarding the whole thing with Harris and Walz is such a scumbag. I can't believe all the stuff that's come out about him. And it's just really hard to listen to and to hear all this stuff. I just wish that people would listen to more conservative news sources, listen to Fox and Newsmax more, listen to C-SPAN, because C-SPAN shows a lot of this stuff too, and really, get their, not be so biased by all the altered media out there. So I'll just put that out there.
Verna, thank you. Thank you very much for that call. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, just very, very quickly. Kamala, she has not done a press conference. What was yesterday was not close to a press conference, but she did issue a few comments to the press. Okay, let's put it that way. This is unbelievable. What are we now, 19 days? She has not done a press conference. So the media says, as she's walking around, it says, hey, can we get like an interview or something? You think anytime soon? Listen to her response. Incredible. Roll cut 15, Alex.
Madam Vice President, there's been a lot of questions about when you're going to sit down for your first interview since being the nominee. Do you have any update on that?
I've talked to my team. I want us to get an interview scheduled before the end of the month.
Thank you. What do you make about that on your husband's face?
Thank you so much.
And they see right away. Okay, thank you. All her handlers. Thank you. That's it. So this is too much. Can we sit down and have an interview with you? Yesterday was August 8th. 19 days. She hasn't done a press conference. This shows you how incompetent she is, how insecure she is, how they're desperately trying to protect her. Okay, the entire media. And she's like, yeah, we'll do something by the end of the month. The end of the month? That's 3 more weeks. I'm telling you, I'm starting to get the feeling I don't think she's going to do a press conference at all. I know you're saying, Jeff, come on. That's impossible. I'm telling you, I think they're going to they're going to redo the Biden 2020 campaign. Now, the excuse then was COVID, and that's why they kept them in the basement for all those months. What's going to be their excuse now? Listen now to Kamala. She says they have agreed to a debate. There's going to be one debate that we know of on September 10th on ABC News. Trump has now challenged her to 2 other debates. One on Fox, September 4th, and then another one on NBC News on September 25th. So he says, let's do 3 presidential debates. No. Listen to Kamala. Roll cut 16, Alex.
Madam Vice President, Donald Trump agreed to 3 debates. Will you be participating in all 3?
I've always been on record. I am looking forward to debating Donald Trump, and we have a date of September 10th. I hear he's finally committed to it. I'm looking forward.
What about the other 2?
She won't answer. What about the other 2? And she starts walking away. And then another reporter asks her, hey, all of these allegations by J.D. Vance and others of stolen valor against Tampon Tim Walz. And listen to this pathetic answer. Roll cut 17, Alex.
Some of the criticism has been about your vice presidential pick and his leaving the National Guard at 24 years. Vance said that he deserted his own troops or his own colleagues. What's your take on that?
Listen, I praise anyone who has presented themselves to serve our country. And I think that we all should.
So she doesn't answer the question. It's not a question of whether he served in a National Guard or not. The question is, and now there's even more damaging videos and tape coming out. Now we have more tape. We have him addressing his unit after he abandons them. Remember now, they've been deployed to fight in Iraq. And he gives out a video and he says, good luck, guys. Good luck. Because now, so really, this is the story in a nutshell. His unit was called to Iraq and he quit. He didn't want to go. He abandoned those that served with him and under him. And he said, nah, I'm going to run for Congress. I'm retiring. Bye. Bye. Blank you. Blank you. You go fight and die. I'm not fighting and dying. As he touts his military record and then lies again and again, claiming he fought in Iraq, which he didn't, that he fought in Afghanistan, which he didn't, that he fought in a war zone, which he didn't. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. This guy, I thought she was a con and a grifter. This guy, he's on a different level. It's a different dimension. How much time left, Alex? Okay, we got time for this. Listen to Kamala. Roll cut 19, Alex.
We believe in the collective. We're not falling for these folks who are trying to divide us, trying to separate us, trying to pull us apart. That's not where the strength lies.
Okay, now you know why. She doesn't want to do anything off script. When she opens her mouth, we believe in the collective, i.e., I'm a communist. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, let's go to Rob in the great state of Pennsylvania. Thanks for holding, Rob, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff.
Hi, Rob.
I'm every morning I get up, usually 3 a.m. because I'm usually on the West Coast. I don't have to do that anymore. I'm on my way back to New Hampshire. And so I always say, thanks, Cooksey, for ruining my mornings. But I also say thanks, Cooksey, for bringing him to Boston.
Oh, thank you, Rob. I appreciate it. Rob, what's on your mind, my friend?
Jeff, let's not forget, she is a hardcore, lifelong stoner. She's well known as a heavy pot user, as a chronic pot smoker. All her people, anybody near her, even people who shouldn't know that she's a hardcore pot smoker. She is of low character. Let's just boil it down to this. Donald Trump isn't going to change the way he speaks about her because she doesn't deserve his respect. Can you see Donald Trump phonying his way? He doesn't phony anything. He would have to fake respect in regard for her. He doesn't do that. That's not going to go away. But she's such a stoner that she is hiding in the basement. She's probably very happy that her handlers have her hiding in the basement, not coming out till the end of August for a chit-chat with the press. But can you see, how is she ever going to handle the one debate that she will do? I can't imagine it. He will beat her up.
Well, Rob, look, I want to commend you for your courage. I really do, because you're saying what many people know and what many people are thinking, but for whatever reason, because we live in this age of censorship and cancel culture, the people are afraid to speak. And you're right. She is a stoner. I call her a pothead, but I think stoner is even a better term. She's been a lifelong abuser of drugs, and you can tell it's damaged her brain. And let me tell you something else. This is an open secret. The California, San Francisco media have already reported on this. She also is heavy into alcohol. It's not just pot or other. She abuses alcohol and drugs. And she has for a very long time. And if you notice, she's personally extremely insecure because she knows she's out of her league and out of her depth. This is a woman, let's be candid, she slept her way to the top. If this woman didn't sleep her way to the top, she wouldn't be there. So she can't handle, forget being president. She can't handle being vice president. She can't handle being senator. She can't handle being attorney general or district attorney. And this is why, and I want to play this cut. This was her in Detroit a couple days ago. All right. This is her in Michigan. And this is the real her. This is what her handlers fear. And that's the problem. You can't hide somebody like her. So she's interrupted by hecklers. I think these pro-Hamas or pro-Palestinian hecklers. And listen now. She's talking about tax breaks for millionaires and the rich. And she's lying about Trump again, saying he's going to cut Social Security, which is not true. But look at how catty, how nasty, how prickly she gets just by a simple interruption. Roll cut 14. Alex.
To give tax breaks to billionaires and big corporations. He intends to cut Social Security and Medicare. He intends to surrender our fight against the climate crisis. And he intends to end the Affordable Care Act. You know what? If you want Donald Trump to win, then say that. Otherwise, I'm speaking.
Yeah, I see. Maybe the Moonbats, that plays with them. But this, otherwise, I'm speaking. Shut up. I'm speaking. And she points her forefinger into the air. I'm speaking. I'm speaking. This nasty, frankly, this bitchy, I'm speaking. I'm speaking. I'm speaking. It's really off-putting. I'm telling you, it's really off-putting. And it's a sign of immense personal insecurity, lack of complete confidence. She can't read the teleprompter because they're chanting and yelling and chanting, with these slogans. To give Joe Biden his credit, he was able to read, not that he read it well, but he would power through. Trump powers through. You get heckled all the time. Look, I do a lot of public speaking. Trust me when I tell you this. I encounter hecklers all the time. You just ignore them, man. Yeah, it's just background noise. Keep going, and eventually they just fade. She can't even handle a couple of hecklers. And already, the real her, the nasty side of her, the side that her staff saw, which is why 92% left. 92% turnover rate. They said she's insufferable. That's what you started to see. And they know that about her. That's why everything has to be scripted. Everything has to be packaged. Everything has to be controlled and directed. Because if you get to see any aspect of her that's really her, honestly, she's revolting. Final word to you, Rob.
She has, exactly as you said, she has a very frail psyche. And Trump knows this. And I guarantee you he's playing it. Right now he's playing it. He will change up his game. He will focus on the fundamentals once again. But I think he's even trying to shake her out of that basement right now by going after her personally like that. And too bad the fools of this country can't handle it. They're going to vote for her no matter what. You can't fix a fool.
Very well said. Very well said. Rob, thank you very much for that call. No, I think that's why he agreed to do that ABC News debate. There's no question, in my view. He sees, you know what? If she's going to hide in the basement, I'm going to get her out of the basement. And that's why, even though he initially didn't want to do it, because it is an ambush, let's be clear, it's going to be 3-on-1. If George Stephanopoulos is moderating anything, and Martha Raddatz, holy mackerel, I mean, it's going to be 3-on-1. They're going to go headhunting in that debate. He doesn't care. He's going to go into the lion's den one more time. because he wants people to see the real Kamala. So he's going to get under her skin. He's going to try to get inside her head, and he's going to try to frustrate her, and all he's got to do is show more of this. I'm speaking. And it's off-putting. It's imperious. It's arrogant. It's demeaning. And it's a sign of deep, deep insecurity. And it's multiple reasons. It's someone who attained a level that they never truly earned, and they know they haven't truly earned. And you combine that with all the drug use and the alcohol abuse, and you can tell her brain. That's why she keeps doing these word salads. If you want to hear, it was by the way, now their scam is this. They hold concerts. So the place is packed, not for her, for the person, whatever, the band or the singer or whoever. And then she shows up and gives a quick speech, 5-10 minutes. And then her crowd, her handlers and the press go, look at this turnout. Look at this, 10,000, 15,000 for Kamala. No. They're there to see whatever. By the way, I've never heard of these bands. I'm sorry, what, Alex? 2 minutes. I thought you knew the name of the band. Okay, sorry about that. Alex is younger and obviously more hip, believe me, than I am. So, anyway, it's these bands I've never heard of, but apparently they're very popular with younger people today. So, they show up at these, basically they're concerts. And then she comes up and just, a couple of minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes. And even then, because of all the drug use and the brain damage and the alcoholism. Here. Yeah, Bon Iver. This is her at the I never heard of these guys. At the Bon Iver concert, disguised as a campaign rally. This is her. Roll cut 18, Alex.
So, Wisconsin, ultimately, this election is about a question that we each face. We each face a question in this election.
Unburdened by what has been, the significance of the passage of time. Because we realize that when time passes, it's significant. Hold on. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's good, man. That's good stuff, man. Oh, yeah. That's deep, huh? Was I just deep or what, man? Oh, was I deep? I'm telling you, she's the modern day version of Cheech and Chong. The political modern day version of Cheech and Chong. And, remember that Nancy Reagan just say no to drugs in the 80s, and they do these commercial spots, and they go, this is your brain, and then they would crack an egg on a frying pan, and they go, this is your brain on drugs. No, now you just point to her head, and you go, this is your brain on drugs, and just listen to her talk. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, let me just play one more cut. Because this is where I think Trump really tattooed Kamala Harris yesterday. And if he can do that in that September 10 debate, I don't see how she politically survives and wins in November. Her numbers are going to start to drop like a stone. Listen now to Trump. Roll cut 10, Alex.
Kamala's record is horrible. She's a radical left person at a level that nobody's seen. She picked a radical left man that is, he's got things done that he has positions that are just it's not even possible to believe that they exist. He's going for things that nobody's ever even heard of. Heavy into the transgender world, heavy into lots of different worlds having to do with safety. He doesn't want to have borders. He doesn't want to have walls. He doesn't want to have any form of safety for our country. He doesn't mind people coming in from prisons, and neither does she, I guess, because she couldn't care less. She's the border czar. By the way, she was the border czar 100%. And all of a sudden, for the last few weeks, she's not the border czar anymore, like nobody ever said it.
it's just funny because he's right. He's completely right. But that's how I felt when they picked him. Tampon Tim. I was like, what? You can tell, like, he's like, how do you pick this guy? What world does this guy live in? He mandated tampons in the boys' bathroom. I don't know what else to say, man. Really. I was, he wants to turn the entire Midwest into a refugee resettlement area. He says we need to be more like Somalia. And he changed the Minnesota flag to resemble the flag of Somalia. I mean, I could go on with all his other insane policy positions, but like, to what? This is who you pick? That's your VP? So that's why Trump is just like, he's almost like, I'm speechless. I don't know what to say. Who picks somebody like this? Except someone who's a brain damaged stoner. Really, nothing between the ears. Am I wrong? 617-266-6868. Okay. Are you concerned about the way the Trump campaign is going? Do you fear that Kamala has some real momentum, egged on and protected by the media, sheltered and protected and shielded by the media? And do you think Trump needs to start resetting his campaign? Or do you feel he has to just keep doing what he's doing and eventually she will fall? 617-266-6868. Annie in Chelsea. Thanks for holding, Annie, and welcome.
Hello?
Annie.
Hello? Greetings from the sanctuary city of Chelsea, where the quality of life is so bad that even the alley cats are packing their bags and they're moving out. Jeff, I love you in a non-sexual way. Jeff, I think the Democrats have an identity problem. Elizabeth Warren identifies herself as an Indian. Obama says he is an American. Kamala identifies herself as a black woman. You can also be a cat, you can be a dog, you can be a man. Who knows? Maybe tomorrow Kamala may want to be a man, identify herself as a man. But hold on, breaking news from the grapevine. Ancestry.com is having a sale for the first 3 people. You think maybe these 3 people should get in their discount while they can? The Democrat Party is a wannabe party.
Annie, thank you very, very much for that call. 617-266-6868. Bob in Raynham. Thanks for holding, Bob, and welcome.
Hey, Jeff. How's it going?
Good. How are you, Bob?
Good. So, do you remember when Biden was selected? It was either shortly before or shortly after Pelosi was somehow found out to be looking into the 25th Amendment. And I think the original game plan was to remove Biden, but I think they shortly realized that this woman was so stupid, there is no way they could ever... Yeah, so they decided to write it out with Biden. So now we're at the point where, okay, they got Biden out. Now she's going to run. She's going to lose, and they get rid of her once and for all because, if somehow, Biden ran and lost, should be the presumptive candidate for the next 4 years, and they'd have to play this game for another 4 years. So I think unless Trump does something really stupid or says something really stupid, they're just going to recircle the wagons for the next 4 years. But they got to get rid of this idiot, and they know it.
Well, she's, I got to say, Bob, to me, she's the ultimate Frankenstein's monster. Politically, obviously. Here, because you really touched on it. This is what they did. They used her to tell Biden to step aside because they saw that Biden was going to get crushed in November. It was going to be a Trump landslide. It was obvious. So they went to Biden. This is exactly what Pelosi did. And she said, look, Joe, we can do this the hard way or the easy way, but you're going to step aside. And Obama stuck the knife in, and Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, they all stuck the knife in. But what they didn't bank on, because this is what their plan was. Their plan was he steps aside. They use Kamala because she had to agree that they were going to invoke the 25th Amendment if he doesn't step aside. So she said, yes, I will invoke the 25th Amendment. I will go to the cabinet. I will do the dirty deed. And if we have to push Joe out, we're going to push Joe out. So Biden now realizes the game is up. There's nothing he can do now. It's over. Okay, it's over. It's a coup. It's a coup, and he doesn't have the numbers to stop it. So their plan was he steps aside, and then they're going to have an open convention. And Trump made that point. He was adamant yesterday. He was, ironically, he was defending Biden yesterday, saying they removed him. It was a coup. He goes, he won 14 million votes. She hasn't won a single vote. And she was part of that coup. Here is where they really messed up, though. They thought they were going to have an open primary process at the convention. That was their plan. Because they know that she's a disaster. They know it. And the ones they really wanted was Whitmer Newsom, or some kind of a combination of that. Instead, he shafted him. Biden shafted him. He said, "Oh yeah, you're gonna overthrow me, and you think I'm just gonna stand back and take it, sit by idly and just keep my mouth shut? No. That's when he came out and said, I'm endorsing her. I officially endorse Kamala Harris." And that basically prevented the possibility of an open convention. So now they're stuck with her. And we're going to see what's going to happen over the next, really, I think the next month is really going to, I think, decide the election one way or the other. But if they want to get rid of Biden and if they want to get rid of Kamala, this is the way to do it. And I think, and only a guy like Tim Walz could be so stupid. Why would you want to be her VP? Because when she goes down in November in flames, her career is destroyed, but so is the VP. That's why, if you notice, Gretchen Whitmer, Gavin Newsom, she was grooming Gavin to be her VP pick. Kamala Harris was grooming Gavin Newsom. He said, I don't want to touch this with a 10-foot pole. He goes, what are you, nuts? Then my political career is finished. You go down and we're a ticket. You go down, I go down. So that's why she went with some, this doofus, Tampon Tim. So you're completely right. This is now their way. If they want to get rid of her, this is how you get rid of her. She goes down, Biden goes down, it's a complete clean slate, and you can start and rebuild and focus for 2028. And look, to be fair, her handlers know what they're doing. I mean, to give the devil his due, they know if she talks, she's toast. They're toast. The entire campaign is toast. That's why keep her away, even from the super friendly media. Just keep her away, because if she talks, look, I just played one clip of her at a concert, and she can't, look how stupid she sounds. Can you imagine her doing a freewheeling like Trump did yesterday? A freewheeling, unscripted press conference? Ay, ay, ay. The American people would look at her and say, are you serious? No way in hell are we going to install her in the White House. Bob, thank you very much for that call. Okay, which brings me now, I think, to another question I want to ask all of you on top of everything else. Trump yesterday made a major announcement. He has agreed to debate Kamala, as you know, September 10th, ABC News, which is maybe the most rabid anti-Trump media outlet with the exception of MSDNC. He didn't want to do it before, but now he feels he's got to get her out of that basement and just debate her. And when he debates her, she will talk. the more she talks, she will fall flat on her face the way Joe Biden did. So he's saying, let's do it again then. But he also said he wants 2 more debates. September 4th, Fox News, September 25th on ABC News. So he's now saying, I will do 1, but really we should do 3. Listen now to President Trump. Roll cut 5, Alex.
It's very important to have debates, and we've agreed with Fox on a date of September 4th. We've agreed with NBC, fairly full agreement, subject to them, on September 10th. And we've agreed with ABC on September 25th. So we have those 3 dates, and those networks, they're very anxiously awaiting that date and those dates. So we have September 4th, September 10th, and September 25th. We have spoken to the heads of the network, and it's all been confirmed, other than some fairly minor details.
Now, my question to you, is this a good move or a bad move on the part of Trump? Now, the reason why I say that is 2 of the 3 debates are going to be in very, very hostile territory. ABC News and NBC News. Remember, NBC News is tied to MSNBC. So when I say they're going to be anti-Trump, assassins, media assassins, that's what 2 of the 3 debates are going to be. They're basically going to be journalistic assassination attempts. It's not going to be fair. It's not going to be objective. It's not going to be what we saw last night with the Kuhner man on WRKO. I'll tell you this. All right. So they're going to go for his head both times. The whole debate format is going to be tilted completely in chameleon Kamala's favor. Now, the third one, or I guess the first of the 3, but one of them is Fox News. I think it'll be a much fairer debate. I don't think she's going to do it. I don't see her doing it. It's way too high risk. She'll agree to ABC. She may even agree to NBC because she knows, hey, if it's Chuck U. Todd or Lester Holt or whoever else, they're water carriers for Kamala. They'll give her the questions ahead of time. She'll know the answers ahead of time. They can script this as best they can. Fox, it's more high risk. Fox, they may not give her the questions ahead of time. Fox, she'll actually have to think on her feet. And that she can't do. Listen now to Trump because he's asked, well, okay, you've accepted 3 and you're going to do 1 because she's agreed to do 1 on September 10th. But do you think she'll do the other 2 on September 4th and September 25th? Listen now to Trump's response. Roll cut 5A, Alex.
The other side has to agree to the terms. They may or may not agree. I don't know if they're going to agree. She hasn't done an interview. She can't do an interview. She's barely competent, and she can't do an interview. But I look forward to the debates because I think we have to set the record straight.
So Trump is saying, you give me 3 debates, and pretty much I don't even care who the moderators are, the format, the layout. It can all be in her favor. I will beat her because she's that bad. Do you agree with Trump? Or do you think he's being overconfident again? I'm just curious. 617-266-6868. Is he underestimating her? Should he be demanding better terms and a more neutral, fairer moderator and a more neutral, fairer media outlet to do the debate at? 617-266-6868. Now, he wants 3 because he figures after 3 debates, you can run, but you can't hide. 1, maybe she can skate. 2, quite not likely. 3, the country will see the real Kamala. And Trump is convinced once they see how off-putting, how radical how fraudulent, how incompetent she is, the election is his. Is Trump right or wrong? I'm just curious. 617-266-6868. What say you? Betty in Quincy. Thanks for holding, Betty, and welcome.
Hey, Jeff. How's it going?
Good. How are you, Betty?
Good, good. Can I just backtrack for one quick second?
Yes,
I just
yes.
want to. I just want to thank you for everything you do for Boston and beyond. You really are a gem and a gift to all of us, all your listeners. And I just want to give a shout out to everybody last night in the debate. I think it was really great, and you had it at Dunkin' Donuts Studios. It was awesome for everybody to watch and witness.
Thank you, Betty. Thank
and
you.
I just want to say, Antonellis, I think he really did a great job. The one thing I want to say, you have two other people running, and they're saying they're not voting for president, any president, not even Trump. So that's a loss for me. But anyways, I think Trump, at this point, he has to just do whatever they agree to, because really, they're never going to do it his way. So, you know, and I don't think he's being overconfident. I think he's going to go in there. I think we have to give him more credit. He is a master at what he does. And, you know, the first debate, the first question, if he asks her, if she's just going to fall. So really, he has to take whatever they're willing to give him. Unfortunately, it's not fair. It never has been fair from day one. He's going to do a great job. He's going to take all of them.
Betty, I'm just curious. You know me, I don't take much stock in the polls. I've never believed the polls. I don't believe the polls. However, there were other people at that debate last night, not you, obviously, but others, who walked up to me afterwards and said, I'm worried about these polls. She's caught him in many of the polls, and others, she's actually leading Trump now, that she's gotten a bounce. The media is really glorifying her. She's getting phenomenal press. They're building her up into the second coming of Abraham Lincoln. Are you worried about the election? Are you worried that the polls are showing that Trump, right now, on this path, this track, he is going to lose, according to the polls? What say you?
No, you know what, Jeff? I'm not worried at all. Look at what they did back in the day. Hillary was winning. This is just all smoke and mirrors. They have to stop being scared and stop being worried. Do you think people are going to vote like they know how they were during Trump's presidency? No, it's just, you got to tell all the listeners, stop being afraid, stop being scared. They had Trump with no path to victory. Everybody's going to calm down, put all their positive energy before Trump. Let Trump be Trump. Honestly, she's going to open up and she's going to, say a couple of words. And, I think I'm so excited for the debates. We're all going to be eating popcorn. They're going to be like 2 eggs, like, how's your brain, scrambled with a side of crack. They're all, nobody knows what the hell's going on. Let Trump be Trump. He's got this. He's the professional, and everybody wants to see America thrive and survive. Not only survive, but strive. And we want to bring back the American dream. We want to bring back America the way that it was. And you know what? Everybody just take a deep breath and let him roll.
Betty, thank you very much for that call. 617-266-6868. Okay, Betty says, let Trump be Trump. Let Trump be Trump, and everything will take care of itself. Agree, disagree? George in New Hampshire. Thanks for holding, George, and welcome.
Hey, Jeff. Thanks for taking the call.
My pleasure, George.
Yeah, so two things. I think that because this is an accelerated race, everything that Trump needs to do in terms of smoking her out is paramount. So if agree on 10 debates, you know what I mean? That's because the more she speaks, the more catastrophic it is for them. And the second thing I wanted to bring up, you were talking about, are they in is he in a rut right now? And I think he's done a great job of picking JD, but the issue that I'm seeing is he's not, you tell me as a professor, the big picture, and I'm more of a big picture person, is that this DEI stuff that everybody's been pushing for a long time, it's really socioeconomic. And I think he needs to start using that language because that's the language that the other side uses. And if he makes that a paramount, makes that his pillar.
George, can you do me a favor? Hang on. I'm up against a hard break. Back to George. All of your calls. 617-266-6868. Let's go right back to George in New Hampshire. George, you were saying it's important for Trump to co-opt some of the language of the left and liberals so that he can start appealing to some of their voters. Please pick up where you left off, George.
Oh, yeah, I think that most people can relate to it. And, I mean, by picking JD, I mean, he's an excellent example of someone that's basically pulled himself up to the level he's at. And it's through hard work and just doing the right things. And if he uses, I think if he, I don't know, I mean, I don't know really where to go with that. But I mean, because it's to me, it's black and white. This is not. We're not living through Selma. This the racism, the prejudice, and all that. Where a culture is right now with diverse marriages. Just if you look at the television or watch sports, there's really not an issue with skin color, and we've moved beyond that, which is great as a society. And he's kind of the vanguard of really what's, I think, the hardship that middle America is facing. And that is, economics. There's a huge difference between the privilege and the non-privilege. I mean, I'm looking at colleges for my daughter, and it's astronomical. I mean, it's basically unaffordable for someone of my means. Which is sad, and it wasn't the case when I was younger. And he could bridge that, and she's, as an example, I mean, she's just basically pushed herself to the top because of her superficial looks, how she looks. That's how she's been judged. It's not based on our merit. And I think if he crafts an argument, he has excellent, smart people, much smarter than myself, that could basically navigate a cook recipe to basically that's where he's taking us. I mean, that's where his instincts are. I don't know how you see it, but no one uses this in the media. What I brought up, and I find that kind of odd.
Well, this is why Trump made the point that she's a DEI hire, and again, all these leftists and media people were triggered. And they're going, oh, it's racist, it's sexist, how dare you? In fact, their new spin is DEI is the new N-word. So now they're claiming when he called her a DEI candidate, or when Republicans do it, it's like, that's like calling her the N-word. Well, whoa. Joe Biden is the one that said diversity, equity, inclusion is the core strength of America. Almost verbatim, I'm repeating what he said. And that he supports it unconditionally. And he says, if you want to see how invested I am and supportive I am of DEI, look at he said it, look at my vice president, look at Kamala Harris. So he says, she's the epitome of DEI. So what's the problem? And in fact, when he put her on the ticket, and remember, we forget this now, she had a debate. Kamala's not a very good debater, but she did have one good or prominent moment. I don't know if it's a good moment, but it was definitely a prominent moment. And she timed it, and she planned it, and she was prepping for it, and that was to call Joe Biden a racist over the issue of school busing, and to portray herself as a victim, saying I was on those buses, and when you were supporting busing, I was those kids you were calling a jungle. So she accused him of being a racist. Now, he put her on as his VP, and he openly said, I promise you're going to get a black woman. Well, she's a black woman. I have fulfilled my promise. Just like he did with Ketanji Brown Jackson on the Supreme Court. He didn't say, I'm going to give you the best person for the job. And if she happens to be a woman in black, great. But if she's just a white woman, if she's a black, if the person's a black male or whatever, Asian, Hispanic, white, who cares? He said, no, she's going to be a woman and she's going to be a black woman, even though she can't even define what a woman is. Just how insane all this has now gotten. So, but the point is, and he said she's DEI. So when they say it's DEI, it's okay. When you repeat them, suddenly it's the new N-word. It's ridiculous. And what Trump is saying is, and what Republicans are saying, and they're completely right, she was never selected because of her talent, her merit, her character, her capabilities, nothing whatsoever. She was picked for two reasons. One, woman, check. Person of color, check. That's it. It was her skin color and her plumbing. That's it. Pure identity politics. To me, there's nothing more demeaning. There is nothing more disgraceful. And I'll flip it around. Imagine, George, you walk in for a job, and I'm not talking now Vice President of the United States, for God's sake. I'm talking about any job. Okay, here. I got a job to manage a McDonald's. I need a manager. You go, okay, I need the job. You walk on in. Well, George, you got nothing on the resume, man. You've never done anything in the fast food business. You've never been in the restaurant business. You've never managed anything. You have nothing to do with McDonald's, burgers, fast food, nothing. But I'll tell you this, George, I need a white male. I gotta have a white male. I got quotas. I got racial quotas to hit. I need a guy, I need a person who happens to be white, who has the white skin, and who happens to have, it dangles between your legs. Okay? That's all that matters to me now. Well, you know what, George? White, check. Can you pull down your pants for 1 sec? Oh, there it is. Okay, check. George, you got the job. How would you feel? I would feel like dirt. I would feel like, this is why you're hiring me? On something as, I don't know, as crude and ordinary and matter of fact as this? It's profoundly insulting. And George, that's Trump's point. And in the end, no insult to you, George. I'm just using you as an example. You're going to run my McDonald's into the ground. Why? Because I didn't hire you for your competency. That's the problem. And that's the entire Biden regime. They're all DEI hires. Every single one of them. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, a couple lines are open if you want to jump on. We're going to go right to your calls. But first, joining us now, as she always does at this time, the CEO, President Kelly Financial Services. And yes, that is her wonderful name, Kelly. Kelly, how are you?
Good morning, Jeff. I am good. Well, it's been quite a week in our markets and our politics. Kelly Financial believe there's a likelihood of continued market turbulence over the next several months, especially with a looming presidential election and unpredictable geopolitical risk. So we can expect to see swings in the market. The real question is, are you prepared for a period of greater turbulence? We appreciate that this may cause more anxiety for you, but to ease that anxiety, we have a free investor guide called Designing Your Physical House to Weather the Elements. By being more proactive with your retirement planning and working with financial professionals like Kelly Financial, you can better weather the ups and downs of the market. For the guide and to set up a free retirement consultation, give us a call or email kelly@kellyfinancial.org. Jeff, I will continue this conversation with our Kelly advisors tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. on Safe Money Strategies Radio. Jeff, you did a great job last night. Have a wonderful weekend. My best to Grace and the kiddos.
Thank you, Kelly. Have a wonderful weekend. Give my best to everybody. Kelly Financial Services. Give them a call now. 888-800-1881. 888-800-1881. Set up a free consultation with their advisors. They have a wonderful guide for you, free. You can also email Kelly at kelly@kellyfinancial.org. kelly@kellyfinancial.org. Brett in the great state of Maine. Thanks for holding, Brett, and welcome.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Brett.
I have a little different take on what is going to happen in the next few months.
Yes, go ahead.
First of all, I don't think it matters what the people want or the people say. I think the Democratic machine is going at 100 miles an hour and nothing's going to stop it. I think Kamala will do one debate, and then I believe that Biden will step down in, say, mid-September. She will be inserted as president, and then the next two debates are off the table because now she's busy saving the world. She's too busy to debate Trump. I'm dealing with Ukraine now. I'm dealing with the Middle East now, dealing with inflation now. So she's all of a sudden going to be president. She's already there, already doing a fantastic job as the first black woman president. And Trump he's just Trump. I don't have any time to debate him.
Is that a recipe for success in your view?
I believe it is. I think the Democratic machine is, like I say, going 100 miles an hour, and they're going to put her in there. She's already president, and people will think, well, she's doing such a great job. Why take her out now? And she doesn't even have to answer questions anymore. She can put it off until after the election because she's dealing with the problems of the world.
Well, Brett, let me run something by you, because this, for me, is the nightmare scenario that we're talking about. And I want to credit, I believe it's Chuck on Messenger. If it's not, forgive me. So much stuff has been coming in all morning. But I believe it's Chuck who said this. It could be somebody else. But somebody said, Jeff, we're kind of missing the boat here, the larger picture. He says the larger picture is not whether Kamala objectively can win in November. It's that all the Democrats have to do, and this is Grace's point as well, my wife says this all the time, is can they make Kamala plausible? Just plausible enough so that enough Americans are going to swallow it and buy it. And so what Chuck's point and what Grace's point is that the bar for her is much lower than for Trump. Trump has to really win this thing. In fact, he's got to swamp the polls. He's got to beat her like by 15, 20%. He's got to destroy her just to win. All she's got to do, or to be more accurate, her people around her, the machine, as you put it, and you're right, the Democratic machine, all they got to do is make it close enough so that people think, well, I don't know, maybe she did win it fair and square. And that's all she needs to do. And that's why they're pushing all these polls now that say it's competitive, it's neck and neck, there's Kamala mania out there, Hollywood is gaga for her, young people now are flocking to her, minorities are now coming back, they're leaving Trump, they left Biden, they went to Trump, and now they're coming back to her, and this woman has got, we haven't seen a phenomenon like this since Obama in 2008. And to add to this deception campaign, they're paying people to do concerts, and they're masquerading as political rallies for Kamala. It's really a concert. 10, 15, 20,000 people. She just shows up 5 minutes, opens her mouth, reads the teleprompter, and she's gone. But the media is pushing out all these pictures. Look at these crowds. Look at this. Oh my God. The excitement, the grassroots, the surge. So when it comes to November, people are going to think, wow, yeah, there really is something to this Kamala phenomenon. Enough Americans are going to be bamboozled by it. That's my ultimate fear. Is that yours, Brett?
Throughout history how difficult it is to unseat a sitting president. Now when Trump goes after her, He's not going after a competitor. He's going after the actual president.
The incumbent.
And people will look down on that.
That's a good point. Brett, can I ask you this? Because you're obviously a very learned man and a very intelligent man. Audience 50-50. 50-50. Split right down the middle. Some say lay off the insults on Kamala. Don't call her incompetent, fine, but don't keep calling her stupid and dumb. They think it's off-putting. Some, half. It's off-putting. A lot of women voters don't like it. Suburban voters. Others say that's what she is. Expose her. Call her for what she is. Is Trump too insulting when it comes to Kamala Harris? In other words, she is a female candidate, not Joe Biden, and people are more touchy how a male candidate goes after a female candidate. I'm just curious. What are your thoughts?
I think he is a bit tough. I wish he'd lay off the name calling. I said that back in the last election. I wish he wouldn't have resorted to name calling. But what he has to do, in my opinion, is to remind people that she has been there for the past 4 years. All of the problems that we have in this country are because of her. She's not a new person trying to unseat Joe Biden. She has been there by his side, and all of these problems that we have are because of her. Inflation, this Bidenomics crap, the border, everything is because of her. And I think people forget that. They think it's two new people. They think it's Kamala and Trump. No, she's been there for the past 4 years, and Trump has to continually remind people of that.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Brett, honestly, brilliant. Brett, thank you very much for that call. Afghanistan, that was her. I mean, it was Biden, but it was also her. Brett's completely right. Bidenomics, that's her. Green New Deal, that's her. She was the border czar. The border invasion, she owns it. So much, everything that's happened the last 4 years, Ukraine and Russia, that's her. This disaster now unfolding in the Middle East, that's her. So, that's her record. Those are her policies. And that's why, to me, the pivot that I would make if I were Trump is just take out the name Biden and just say, this is what Harris has done for the last 4 years. And just hammer her and hammer her and hammer her, because the record of the last 4 years is indefensible. And then say, look what I did. Here, look what they did, and then look what I did. And it's game, set, and match. Agree, disagree. Kathy in Rochester. Thanks for holding, Kathy, and welcome.
Hi, Jeff. I think Donald Trump needs to take the gloves off and get hit her even harder. He needs to, like you said, expose her for everything she is and everything she's done. She's not a nice person. She pretends to be so nice with that stupid cackling laugh. She's so sweet. But just look at the amount of staff she's had that's left her. She's miserable to work with. She's condescending. She's rude. She's obnoxious. And she's probably high half the time. So he needs to really hit her hard. But, we're talking about the presidential election, and I love Donald Trump, and I love talking about it. But I wanted to call because I wanted to thank you for having that debate last night, because in my opinion, everyone in this state who is a conservative needs to start really paying attention to local politics.
Kathy, we're up against a hard break, and you hang on. I want to come right back to you. I want you to finish your point. 617-266-6868. Okay, I want to go back to Kathy in Rochester. Kathy, before I do, a lot of you are texting and emailing the Kuhner man, saying, please, Jeff, mention this before the show ends, in about, 7, 8, 9 minutes. So this is just 617, but I could, so many more. I've been saying this. Jeff, it's been proven that pictures of the large crowds at Kamala's events are AI generated. It is all over X. Here's another one. Jeff, you are correct about the rock concerts, but there's another photo that's going around that resembled a crowd the size of Trump's and an airport. That crowd, it has now been shown, was AI generated, i.e. fake and phony. So they're now caught literally manufacturing pictures, making up pictures using artificial intelligence to make it seem that there are tens of thousands of people. Just, they can't wait, bated breath. They just, oh my God, they have to hear her and see her. And it's a complete lie. All right, let's go right back to Kathy in Rochester. Kathy, you were saying local politics, state politics, very important for conservatives. Please pick up where you left off.
Yes, and I'd like to just comment on what you just said. That's just amazing that that's all AI. But if they're doing that before the election, can you imagine what they would do after, if God forbid that communist cackling Kamala ever became our president? I mean, just imagine what they would do with AI. Everything is fake. It's horrible. But every single one of your listeners, if they are a Trump supporter, they need to start taking action. We all talk, and I talk a lot. I call a lot of shows. But I have taken action. I have joined my local Republican town committee. I've gotten involved, like trying to put signs out for school committee members, for now state reps. There's so many races going on in Massachusetts where there's a little more than 3 weeks until the primary on September 3rd. And in many of these races, there are multiple Republicans running. So we have to really weed out the rhinos, and you have to really figure out who the true conservative is, and that is the person you need to vote for, because we have to make change in this state. This state is second worst to California. I was talking with an insurance woman the other day, and she said the insurance rates in this state, she's been doing this for 40 years. She has never seen insurance rates going up, skyrocketing like they have. Our taxes are going to be skyrocketing. They're going to be making all these woke decisions for school children with all the, transgender garbage that's in our schools. We have got to take a stance in this state and elect conservative Republicans to fill these seats. There are a lot of Democrats who are not running again. So people, please pay attention. Get involved. Call your person who's running. Get involved with their campaign. Get those signs on lawns. Make phone calls. Make the change that we need to save Massachusetts. Let's start locally. Save Mass. And forget about Amy Carnevale and who she's endorsing. We heard Antonellis last night. He's my man. He's got my vote. I'm getting his signs. I'm putting them on my lawn. We need to stand behind Antonellis to kick that Liawatha out of town and out of the state.
Kathy, thank you very much for that call. Carlos in New Bedford. Thanks for holding, Carlos, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. So I want to say about this. So we all know that when Trump, he's not going to convince the Democrat voters. They're rabid. They're going to be voting Democrat no matter what. My girlfriend's got 2 family members that literally said they'd rather pay higher inflation, higher grocery bills than vote for him. So when Biden lost to Trump in the debate, they said, "Oh my God, we're in trouble." But they won't admit that. They will not admit that Biden was an albatross around their neck. So if he sticks to what he needs to, it's not the main call, and I agree with a lot of people. He doesn't need to do that. Let her keep talking. I told you this about 2 weeks ago. Let her talk, because her insults with her own mouth will make her fall. She'll be like that wave that everybody's talking about. I knew that would happen. Like his bar for Biden was so low that they brought somebody new in like her and said, "Oh my God, well, the Democrats are like, oh yes, well, a new face." Well, she's not a new face. Like other callers said, he needs to bring up the failures of Biden's administration with her right by his side. So I like to see Trump do this. Take these ads, put these ads out where he wants to win some votes between the 18 and 24-year-olds. Have her on tape, it's on video, of her saying about what's wrong with these 18 and 24-year-olds. They're stupid. They're just in dormitories and this and that. I like him to do that just before his first debate, so that way when he goes in there, it's already there. People will see it. The 18-year-olds are always on Facebook and Twitter and everything else and TikTok. And that video should should go viral. And there's other videos saying, did you just fall out of a coconut tree? Let her talk. He doesn't need to do any of that. He just let her keep talking, and that wave that she's riding right now will come to shore and hit those rocks, and that'll be your bloodbath right there.
Carlos,
with the Democrat Party.
I completely agree with you. Completely. I want to ask you this though. Now you may be different than me. I'm going to be honest with you, like I'm in the confessional. When he calls Kamala stupid or whatever, dumb, or I'm like, it doesn't bother me. It honestly does not bother me. And I'm just generally like this. I'm a blunt man. I'm a plain-spoken man. And to me, if something is true, I'm not offended. I swear, I'm never offended. My wife is different. My sister-in-law, who's visiting us this week, they're both staunch conservatives. They're both staunch Trump supporters. They keep telling me over and over again, you don't know, with the friends that we have at the gym, whatever it is, it turns especially women off. When you start with the stupid, you're dumb, this and that, the name calling, it's a real turnoff. And they're not listening to the message or the policies. Then it just becomes about the personality. Do you agree with that, Carlos? 1 minute. Go.
Jeff? Yes, so I agree with that. I agree with it. He doesn't have to, because her ignorance and is going to show when he debates her. So he doesn't have to do any of that. You know what I mean? Because we have thick skin. I don't. It doesn't bother me either, Jeff. So I'm right with you. But with women, it's going to bother them. It's going to like, oh, this guy's like, he's looking at women, and so it doesn't matter if it's her. It's going to be a haze over it. Like, oh, you know what? That's not a good idea for him to be doing that. So yes, I agree that he shouldn't be doing it. Just stick to the facts. Her mouth will get her in trouble, like big mouths that they are, and that's what's going to happen. She's going to crash with that wave right into the rocks, like I said she will. And that's what's going to happen.
Carlos, thank you. Thank you very much for that call. That's what Lori is my sister-in-law, my Grace's younger sister. And both of them made that point. They go, look, just let her open her mouth. People will see she's stupid. Like, people aren't dumb. They listen to her and they're like, are you serious? And you don't have to even say anything. She says it herself. Where did the time go? I gotta go. Bye-bye.